team. It is Tuesday, March 28th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amy Corr, and I'm joined by Kevin Van Eck, and here we are again, Goose Island office. We have a great topic again today. We know inventory. We're looking for it. We're trying to figure out how to get more of it. We're trying to match our buyers to great homes. So let's talk about some ways that we can get creative. All right, you ready for it? All right.
Let's do it.
Let's get your coffee going, and let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
Awesome. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. Yes, inventory is low. Okay, great. What are we going to do? We can either sit back and do nothing and just wait for inventory to come to us. Not going to happen. Or we can be proactive, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. 3 ways that you can uncover or dig deeper for inventory to make sure that you can continue to fill your pipeline, because having listings right now is the key to growth in 2023.
That's right. And what I was saying earlier to Kevin is, I want you all to think about, how can I be a market maker? I think we so often, just sit back and wait for the market to unfold, unravel, see what's going to happen.
Yep.
You can either sit back and wait, or you can go after opportunities. So we really want to encourage you to think about, in your market, how can I go after opportunity? And we do have some ideas for you. First one I want to throw out there, landlords. I want you to start thinking about the fact that this is a great time for sellers to sell, right? And oftentimes these sellers need to figure out where they're going to go. If you've got a landlord, guess what? They've got inventory they aren't living in. They don't necessarily need to go anywhere. And for a lot of sellers, what's happening is they might get great prices for some of these properties that they've got. They might be at the point where they're ready to sell that out, maybe 1031 exchange for something else, or just give somebody else the opportunity to take over the property. And this could be multi-units, but it could also be single condos. It could be single family homes. So I want you to think about, how do I figure out who these landlords are in my area? You can look into tax records. You can start figuring out maybe who are some of these people that own these multi-units and might be interested in selling. But you could also pull off of your local MLS. And what you can do is you can take a look and start seeing, when are some of the leases for maybe single family homes or individual condos, when are these coming up in the next 3 to 6 months? And what you can figure out is, how do I get in contact with the person who owns that property, because they may be interested in taking advantage of a great market right now. So it's a little bit of a homework assignment. You've got to do some digging, but I think there's a lot of opportunity to start figuring out those investors out there who might want to trade in or move on from some of the inventory that they've got. Get in front of them, start the conversation, and that may fill your pipeline with some great listings.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it is homework, right? There is some work involved. This isn't something that's super easy and turnkey to do, so you have to put some effort into it. But what else, like we started with, what else are you going to do? Just
what
sit
else
there
do you have
wait?
going on? No.
Yeah. We know you're doing business. But also, how do you increase? How do you grow when the market is slower, or when there's fewer opportunities to be had? So I love that one.
Yeah.
Number 2, let's be a matchmaker. It's just lunch. It is a good example of being matchmaking. We're going to do It's Just Lunch, except with your clients and other owners out there in the market. So let's think about it. If you have a buyer that can't find what they're looking for because they're outgrowing the space they're in, they're a growing family, or they just in general need more space, with that, we know that someone has the property and owns the property that they're looking for. Well, odds are that those folks might either want to move up or move down. And that's where we're going to talk about home swapping. So there might be an opportunity where you have a client that is looking to move up. Someone out there is looking to downsize. And this takes some effort as well. You're going to have to do some work when it comes to marketing and finding out who the right people are, instead of just communicating with the agent community, because neither one of them may be actually thinking about listing because they can't find what they're looking for. You need to find them. So if you have a buyer that's looking for a specific property, do a search. Look for their ideal property that isn't listed. Find those homes, reach out to them through direct mail. If you can do it in other ways, possibly door knocking. We've seen a lot of agents start door knocking again. Please do it safely. But if you do that, then you have the opportunity to matchmake someone who's looking for the other person's property, and they swap. We've heard of it happening. It takes some effort, but this is a way you can create success And like you said, dig deeper to make sure that you're connecting your people with the homes they're looking for.
Yeah, and I think to put this in context, Kevin and I actually had an agent we were talking to, and he had a client. They have a house that's, call it 900,000, and they're looking to downsize. Specifically, they need a house that has a first floor bedroom. They'd love a ranch, but ultimately it just needs to be a house with a bedroom on the main level. And in the neighborhood they're in, a lot of the starter homes are Cape Cod style, where you've got one bedroom on the main level and then two up. And there's a lot of younger families that are in those homes, and they're looking for that $900,000 house that this woman and her husband are in. So that's what got him thinking. He said, you know what, if I can let all of those starter home people in those Cape Cods or those houses that could be great for his downsizer, if they know that that's what they're looking for, then odds are he can make an opportunity for one of them to maybe be the one that's going to buy and upsize into this other client's home. So hopefully that makes sense, but it's just starting to think about, you know, there's needs on both sides, and it's like, how do I make sure that they both know about each other and I can start matching them up, as Kevin said. So I love that.
Yeah.
So think about that, because I know there's probably a lot of those out there right now.
For sure.
And then our last tip or thought about being able to uncover inventory. We're going to talk about sort of those empty nesters, or those people who might be looking to downsize, and they may choose to downsize and stay within your community or your area. But we also know in our market, we've got a lot of people that are looking to get out potentially of Illinois. Some like to go to Florida, some are looking in Arizona, California, Texas. We've got kind of an array. And so what I am encouraging agents to think about is that when you've got somebody that's downsizing, the thing that's tough about it is oftentimes they don't have kids or a job or something that ties them to a timeline. So they want to move, but there isn't this huge sense of urgency. And so we have to kind of help with that urgency. And the best thing that you can do is start having them think like a buyer, starting to get them the sense of where they want to go and what are the opportunities there. So again, for example, let's say you've got somebody that you know, and you know that they maybe are thinking about downsizing to Florida, but no hurry. What about if you took the opportunity? We've got an amazing network. We've got affiliates in Florida. We've got a bunch of them. What if you knew that maybe Naples was the area that they were interested in? Why not get in contact with an agent in Naples and understand what's happening in that market? What can somebody buy between, call it 500,000 and maybe, 2 million? Do they have new construction? Is the market moving fast? What are all of the options? And, how are buyers seeing success in that market? If you educate yourself on the market that these empty nesters are wanting to go to, then you can take the conversation further down the field. Because oftentimes we have the conversation with somebody and it really kind of ends at, yeah, there's no sense of urgency. We're thinking about Florida. But what if you could take the conversation a little bit further and say, well, where in Florida are you interested in? I don't know. We're thinking maybe Sarasota or Naples. What if then you had the opportunity to say, you know what? I've got a couple of colleagues that actually work in both of those markets. And I've been talking with them recently, and here's some information that they were sharing with me. Do you see where I'm going with this, though? I'm able to take this conversation a little bit further down the field.
Yep.
What if you got them in contact? What if you got them set up on a search? You have to get sellers who don't have a sense of urgency urgent. You've got to start making them feel like, hey, I really want to buy right now. Because if you can get them moving in that direction, guess what? Next thing you know, they're going to have you come on in and start looking at their house because they want to sell. So thinking about how you can get these, unmotivated sellers really kind of off the fence, start having them focus on where they want to go and helping them really understand the opportunities that are available for them.
Yeah, that's really cool. As you were talking, it's sort of, we talk about Ford questions all the time, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. This is the dreams part, where people don't have a timeline, but what is their magic wand? Where do they want to be? If you're familiar with Ninja, you know that question.
Yep.
So how do you find out where they want to be? In Florida, in Sarasota? You ask, it's through Ford questions. And then you can make it happen and set up that timeline like Amy's saying.
Yeah. So some additional great ideas for you out there. Again, we want you to be a market maker. Don't sit there and wait for the market to run you. It's time for you to decide what are some proactive things I can do right now to create opportunity. Because I'm telling you, the agents that are doing that are the agents that are seeing success. So good luck. Email us some of your stories. We want to hear from you. And have an awesome Tuesday. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. But until then, what do we say, Kevin?
You got this.